Well, good afternoon and welcome to a Lunch and Learn here with us at Action Coach in Birmingham. I hope you're keeping safe and very well. It's a lovely Wednesday lunch and I've got lovely Rachel McGideon-Fee from iSell Digital. Hi, Rachel. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Nice to be here again, Steve. Thank you.
Just out of interest, Rachel, what does iSell stand for? Because I love the way I sell digital, I sell coaching. It's was it for that reason, or does it stand for something?
Inspire, support, engage, and learn. But it's also a culmination of both of my children's names, Isla and Ellis.
Oh,
Isla and Ellis.
so to remember the children, then they've been at school for so long now.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know all about them. No, but I love the fact that iSell Digital also works that way as well. But it's great to have you with us today on this Lunch and Learn. I'll put your details on the screen just as I'm introducing you. But before we talk a bit more about the topic we're going to look at today, if you're listening to this for the first time today, please do connect with us on LinkedIn, on Facebook, put any questions. We're going to be talking all about how Google can help our business. Can Google grow our business, and how can it help, and how can it help us to take our business forwards into the next new norm that we're starting now? So Rachel's going to be talking to us all about that. But please do put any questions, any comments. If you're on the Zoom link with us today as well, please do ask any questions as we go along. But Rachel, tell us a bit about, first of all, what iSell Digital is all about.
I'm a digital marketing company that works with small to medium-sized businesses, basically helping them grow their business through the power of digital marketing. I've just been on another networking group, and I did actually say I am that person that stalks you online, which I don't do personally, but through the power of paid advertising and Google Ads, I get products and services in front of people that may have been on your website, or people that fit your ideal customer criteria. I can help you get your business in front of them and build a relationship digitally with them, so with your current customers, and also with attracting new customers as well.
Brilliant. And I know you're with us, it seems a little while ago now, 6 to 8 weeks maybe, and you were talking all about social media. And that's another big aspect of your business, isn't it? And I think we concluded that webinar by saying it's not whether you do social media or not, it's just about how well you do it. And
Yes.
If you're serious about growing your business now, I guess the same is about Google. It's not whether you use Google or not, it's how you use Google to the best advantage to grow your business. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, and what I'm finding a lot of, especially obviously over the last 12 months, because of the impact of people having to be relying on digital more so, both from a consumer and a business perspective, is that people don't actually realise the opportunities that are out there that are offered by the social media platforms and by Google as well. So the difference between social media and Google, from an advertising perspective, is that Google is search-based advertising. So, you know yourself that you would type in something to Google like restaurants in Birmingham, whereas the advertising that you do on there and whatever you set up, so you Google My Business, etc., will be adapted to that. Whereas from an Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook perspective, the audiences that you build on there are based on their interests. So Google is massively useful, and people don't utilize the free aspects of it, which is the groundwork really.
That leads me to one of my first questions, actually. I'm astounded how many business owners I talk to across Birmingham and wider afield who don't even have their business registered on Google. Is that a simple process to do? Is there a cost to it? Is that why people don't do it, do you think, or they just don't realize the advantage?
I think they don't realise the advantage, and yes, certainly they might think that it's not free to do. So everybody knows that Google advertising you have to pay for. However, the Google My Business is actually free. So it's free to set up a Google My Business account. You can set it up from your regular email or from a Gmail account, and you can actually use Google My Business much in the same way that you would use social media. So you can put regular posts on there, you can put offers on there, you can put your services on there, you can it's a really it's a full suite of things that you can use, and then you can pick and choose various aspects of it that you may need. Like, for example, if you're a retailer or you're e-commerce, then you might use the free Google Shopping listings, which people don't know about. If you're a service business, you can still use Google Maps to have your office address on there, so people can see you in the locality. There's loads of different aspects to Google that people don't realise they can utilise and not necessarily have to pay for.
It feels like the website is your new shop window, and Google is almost like the A board that stands outside, directing people in the right direction. But I know you're going to tell us a lot more about how Google can help our business, and you've got some slides to share, haven't you, Rachel?
Yes.
And as I say, just while Rachel's putting her slides on the screen there, if you have any questions, if you're listening to us on Facebook, on LinkedIn, or on Zoom, please just do fire the questions at either Rachel or myself, and we'll do our very best to answer them for you. There we go. I love it when technology works seamlessly, Rachel. It's always a good start.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be going into presentation mode though. Hold on one second. It's because I can see you over there. We go. There we go.
Perfect.
So, just a little bit why Google is good for your business. It's so basically, Google My Business is amongst the number one tools that can help bring your business to a new audience's attention. When you start a new business, you want to get found online, obviously, by many people, as well as so a well set up Google My Business account will help make that happen. And it's like I just said, basically, if it's set up really well and fully, then you will start to appear, especially if you're looking for local trade. You'll appear for people doing local searches. So just a few stats here. 90% of people read reviews before purchasing. And whilst there's still a huge market for, or a lot of people, I think I probably said this on the last webinar. So local Facebook groups, etc. People do ask for, does anybody know a good roofer? Does anybody know a good plumber? Where's a nice restaurant too? I mean, up until a few weeks ago, it was where's a nice restaurant that have got heaters outside, but now we can sit inside. It's various things like that. So they might start their search on Facebook and look for recommendations there, but the next place they go to is to read your reviews. So 90% of people do read reviews before purchasing or booking or using a service, and 84% of searches are discovery, with 16% direct. So those 16% might be the people that have picked up a recommendation on Facebook and then have searched you after looking at your social media, might then go to Google to search you on there. However, 84% are discovery. So that could be if you're on holiday, for example, lots of people going on holiday next week. We're not, unfortunately, but there's loads of people going on holiday next week. So whilst, and I know that I do this, whilst on holiday, you would type into Google local child-friendly restaurant, and that is where 84%. So that's where these searches are coming from. But they're not just going to be. Sorry, go on.
No, I've got a question. I don't know if you're going to come on to it later on. Sam has just asked a question to us on Facebook. Hi, Sam. It's good to have you with us. In terms of those reviews, obviously we all want positive reviews, but we can be recipients of negative reviews. And she's asking, how can we get rid of fictitious, or how damaging can a fictitious negative review be on Google?
Okay, so that's a really good question, actually, and I have had to do this for a client where somebody had registered a similar business. They had the same postcode and it was a similar business, but my client's was much better than the other business. But basically, unbeknownst to the reviewer, they reviewed the wrong business. Right. So what you can do is you can actually raise an issue or complaint, I'm not sure which it's called, with Google, and obviously let them know that it's a spurious complaint, whether it be fictitious or for the wrong business, as it was in this case. Google do take a while to update things. So, if you sort of leave it a week or two, and there's nothing going on, I would get back onto them. One of the other things which is hugely beneficial, and this is from a positive or negative review perspective, is make sure that you always respond to reviews, and not only on Google, this is on social media as well. So make sure that you respond to reviews. As you can see here, 20% of consumers expect to receive a response within 1 day. Probably the negative reviewers don't expect a response, especially if they're leaving it, if they're a competitor or something, or it's a fake review. However, what you can do, and I've seen this so much and it's really well dealt with, is people saying things like, "Oh, I'm so sorry you've had this experience. If you would like to give us the details of your visit, or give us the details of which service you use." So basically you're bouncing it back to them, and then if it is fake, very often you may not hear from them again, or it will open a conversation where you can expose them. So that's a good way of dealing with it. But you can, like I say, you can actually go to Google and ask them to take it back down, and as long as it's proved as a fake review, then they will do that.
And what I'm hearing from you there, Rachel, is about, in terms of how you respond, it's making sure you respond in a polite, professional, courteous way, and don't open a debate or an argument online.
Yeah, I mean, I would say even if you know it's a fake review, perhaps not actually saying that. So, like I say, go down the path of, which product did you purchase from us? Or could you let us know when you visited our restaurant? Something like that. Because obviously, if it's a fake review, they're not going to have that information. So they will, either by their silence, if they don't respond, or by them coming up with more fake information, eventually they'll expose themselves.
Absolutely, yes, yeah. No, it's really helpful. Hopefully, Sam, that's helped you as well.
Brilliant. So, as you can see here, there was a 61% increase in calls from Google My Business from January 2020 to July 2020. And that, like I say, if you always think of yourself as your customer or a consumer, you know yourself that the most convenient way of finding things you will use. So if you have got your business's phone number on there, and again, I'm going back to restaurants and hospitality. The reason I keep mentioning them is actually because restaurants, hospitality, and e-commerce have the highest traffic through Google, for obvious reasons, because people are always looking for local stuff. But yeah, so they just click on that number, and it automatically rings the business from the phone. Typical business gets 59 actions from its Google My Business listing every month, and that translates to 5% of Google My Business listing viewings resulting in some sort of action. So whilst 5% might be quite a low number, it can be, if you're getting enough traffic, it could be a good chunk of people that are visiting your website, or calling your number, or visiting, if it's a bricks and mortar business, visiting your premises. So yeah, it's definitely worth having something on there.
And fairly straightforward and easy to do. Is that what you're going to talk? Is that?
Yeah. So getting the most out of your Google My Business is completely business profile information. So like I say, you can have your address on there. One thing I will say is, so for service-based businesses such as myself, I don't want my home address, my new home address, because I moved last week. I don't want it on Google, but so you can hide it, much like you can with Facebook, your Facebook page, etc. But then you can say for example, if you're a local service-based business, you can then list and say the areas that you work with. So for myself, I can work nationally, internationally, so I have UK wide. But if I was just restricting myself to working within the Birmingham area, or I wanted all the major cities, maybe I could list Birmingham, Manchester, London, etc. So then people that are searching for stuff in that area will see my listing come up. So yeah, as mentioned before, relevant content on your Google post section. So you can you can post videos, you can post pictures on your Google post section. There's a section there which you can post offers. So, you know, if you were running a Black Friday offer, for example, that is going to be something that is more than likely searched for. I don't know. There might be restaurants running Black Friday offers. Obviously, come to the end of November, isn't it? So you might want to post something at the beginning of November. So yeah, it's all about. So with Google, like I say, it's search based. So if you're thinking of what people are going to be searching for and then using that wording in your posts, etc., you're more likely to get found. Yeah, choosing a specific and relevant category. So they are pre-assigned categories on there, but again, you know, there will be something that fits your business. And making sure that you upload high resolution photos. This is good because you want stuff to show up on the Google Images search. So again, from this perspective, whenever you put a picture on Google or anywhere, so on your website or on your, you can't do it so much on social media, but always have a description for the picture, because that description could lead someone to your website or to your Google listing. Okay. Use a local contact number. So again, this is from the perspective of if you are trying to attract customers locally, whether they live in the area or whether they're visiting the area, Google will see that your contact number is, so for example, if it's 0121 for Birmingham, they and someone is searching for restaurants, hotels, beauticians in Birmingham, then you're more likely to get your listing shown. And this is a good one: create a frequently asked questions list. So again, another, this is something you can utilize on Facebook, on Messenger, but this is great because if you are solving the problem before them having to get in touch with you, then you're sort of closer to the sale. So people are more likely to get in touch with businesses where they can see an obvious answer to their question. So just making it easier for those questions to be answered.
And Rachel, another question that's coming from Simon, so it's good to have you with us, Simon. In terms of appearance on Google, how easy is it to get onto the front page? Does Google My Business always company? That's quite all right. Rachel's got some company at the front door, possibly. So we'll just, whilst Rachel's just dealing with the dog, we have all things happen here on Zoom, don't we? We've all been there in the past. If you have any questions for Rachel on Google, we're just talking about how Google can help to grow your business. So if you have any questions for Rachel or for myself, please do send them in. There we are, Rachel. Just saying.
Sorry, I apologise for that.
No problem at all. No problem at all. So yeah, so the question that's just coming was, you know, how can we make sure that our business appears at the front or at the top of the Google? Is there anything we can do as business owners to help that?
Yes. So all of this that I'm talking about now is the groundwork which you would put into. So all of this is free. So this is the stuff that you don't have to pay for. So right, getting a listing on. Okay. To get onto the front page. So all of these things will help. So it's a bit like a puzzle. So you put all the pieces of the puzzle together, the bigger the puzzle becomes, and at the end it will be completed. So yes, the more places you are, the better the more likely you are to be found. There's other relevant things which you need to look at. So your SEO on your website, which is search engine optimization. So again, go back to using those keywords that people are going to be looking for. And then once you've done all that sort of base work, then you need to start looking at advertising and paid ads. So keyword ads, if you're e-commerce business, you can have shopping ads. So there's lots of different variables which go into it.
Brilliant. That's really helpful. Thank you.
So high resolution photos, yes, I was talking about those. So high resolution
Yeah.
photos, they are going to be the ones. The better the picture, you want to be showing in Google Images, and yeah, like I said, putting a description in there. It's all about Google being a search engine. So obviously, if you've got a good description on your picture and it describes something that somebody's searching for, then it's more likely to show in a search. And yeah, frequently asked questions, etc. We've gone through those.
Absolutely.
So next up is another actually free to set up. I forgot to finish that sentence. It was initially introduced in the US, but it came across to the UK. I think it was about October of last year.
Yeah, it's the same, new to me. I've not heard of Google Shopping Lists, so I'm learning as well, which I love this.
So this is again fantastic for e-commerce. So basically, it's free to set up. So what you do is you need obviously Google My Business in the first place, but then you need Google Merchant Center, which basically is where you can upload your inventory onto there. And then, so when you're looking in Google, you get your first page of Google, then you'll look at there's different tabs. So you've got Google, then you've got the images tab, and you'll have a Google shopping tab. So if you click on that, everybody that has got people that have got something relevant to whatever you've searched for. So I don't know, red shoes.
My colleagues would laugh now because I was looking for a lawnmower this time last year, and every time I look for a lawnmower, they always have an in-house joke. But yes,
well, there you go, lawnmowers. So what you would do is you'd search for lawnmowers, and if you wanted specifically, say, to go to a garden centre local to you, so if it was me, I'd put lawnmowers in Birmingham or Solihull or Worcester, and then I'd click on the shopping tab, and on there are clickable. So it's a picture, and it will have whatever the product is. So if it's a lawnmower, can't think of a make of a lawnmower.
Bosch or Flymo.
There you go, Flymo. So it could have a Flymo lawnmower, and then it will have the details of the shop or garden centre or wherever it was on there. Click on it, and it will take you through to the website.
And does that show the price as well, Rachel? Is that a way that we can...
Yeah, so it will show the price. There's so in Merchant Center, it's quite a lot to set up, but once it's set up, it actually works really well. So there's in Merchant Center, you can show the price. If it's something that's deliverable, you can put the weight of the parcels in there and how much it's going to cost, etc. Which obviously, if you've already set that up on your website, that information's already there. So it's just transferring it across to Google. You can use this as a free listing. You can supplement it with paid shopping campaigns to be more competitive. So basically, you would run a Google shopping campaign, and that is where you know yourself when you're looking on Google and you see the ads come up. A Google shopping ad basically has pictures and has the information, which once you click on it, it's getting to the top of the Google search, if you like. So Google shopping listings are massively useful and free to set up.
Again, I got another question from Ahmad. It's good to have you with us. He's just asking, is there any way of making sure his shopping lists come up the top, his products appear above others?
Yeah, so it would be using paid ad campaigns, as long as if you've got your free listings set up, and I'm guessing and making sure that you've got as much information on there as possible, and search relevant terms. So things like I don't know, lawnmower. You just said a lawnmower. Did you want a petrol lawnmower? Did you want an electric lawnmower? So it's if you want if you only sell petrol lawnmowers, then you need to make sure that petrol lawnmowers are within the description of the product. If you're doing it from a garden centre, I wouldn't necessarily ship, then it would be petrol lawnmowers in Birmingham or petrol lawnmowers in whatever area it is, and you're trying to attract people to your business. So it's thinking about what people would be looking for. Once you've done all that, then it's looking at, oh, right, okay, do I want to spend a bit of money on some shopping campaigns to be more competitive?
And I guess the key to this, Rich, from what you're saying, is to get into the mind of the buyer and think about when we've done it. We've all done it, I'm sure, but we do it almost as second nature. We've gone onto Google, we've looked for something, and we've typed in because we know what we're looking for. We've just done it automatically. But think about those experiences, those times you've been looking yourself, and apply that when putting your listings together.
Exactly, exactly. So another free aspect of the Google suite, if you like, is Google Maps, which is another great business weapon for small to medium-sized businesses. So it helps people locate your office, shop, restaurant, tells them that there is a company that can offer them the services or products they wish to have. The other great thing about this is if you happen to use Google Maps as your new TomTom, which I do, bit old. I'm showing my age again there, Steve.
I remember when TomToms came out in the,
Yeah.
was it the early 2000s, wasn't it? Yeah.
Having just moved house, I did find one in a drawer. The kids were like, "What's that?" So
going off track, but I often wonder why they didn't collaborate with some of the car manufacturers because they missed an opportunity there. But anyway,
yes,
go back to that another day.
So Google Maps. So, like I say, you very often, if you're going to visit a new client or a colleague or wherever you're going, or you're going on holiday, you know that when you put in wherever you're going on Google Maps, any business listed on Google Maps will also show. So I might be going to I don't know, my son plays rugby, so I might be taking him to a rugby match at the weekend, but then I will see that there's other different things on there which are listed on Google Maps. So after the rugby, we might fancy going for lunch somewhere. So I'm more likely to click on whatever's showing on Google Maps rather than going back into Google to search for local restaurants. So that's a massively useful tool. Again, it's for people living in the area, for people visiting the area, draws local people and people in the area to your business. So it's huge and really, really, really useful tool for people. For businesses to draw local people and people into the area for business.
And again, another free opportunity, no cost to that at all. Just
no cost.
Go onto Google, and I guess you have to have a Google account for most of this, don't you?
So yes, you can. You have a Google account, so you can have a Gmail account, but also you can link whatever your. So mine is Azelle Digital, and then it's Rachel at Azelle Digital. So I still get notifications from my My Business account to my business email. So you don't necessarily have to have another email address to check if you like. And the thing is with that, do have an email address that you will regularly check, or if you're going to use a Gmail address, incorporate it into, you can get these apps that include all your email addresses, don't you? Because you want to make sure that if people are reviewing your business, be it negatively, which hopefully not, or positively, you want to make sure that you're responding to those reviews.
Yes.
Because the more interaction, the more, I guess, again, bit like social media, the more that people can see. And it's you need at least, people tend to trust the businesses that have got not only more reviews and more recent reviews, but also those that they can see are interacting. So even if it's a thanks very much for leaving the review, and if there is something basic, like, I don't know, they might give you 3 stars instead of 5 because of some spurious reason, then address it and say, thank you for your feedback. We will address XYZ, and I really appreciate you taking the time. So, don't turn a negative into a positive.
Absolutely. I've got clients who've had, sort of mediocre reviews and feedback from clients and turn those clients into their very best paying clients over a period of time, because they've taken that as an opportunity, as a nugget of gold, to turn it into, a great client going forwards. So absolutely right, Rachel, respond positively and engage with them and see how you can turn things around.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So, did you have any more questions for me, Steve?
let me just, if you've got any questions for Rachel, please do keep them coming in. There's nothing at the moment, Rachel, but I'll just give people a couple more minutes just if there's anything else comes in as well. In terms of Google and the locations, how many, if you've got an organization that's got multiple outlets, multiple locations, how do you go about dealing with that on Google? Would you just have the head office or the main office?
So you can have an umbrella. So you'd have, I don't know, I suppose, think of a big business. Tesco's. So yeah, I wouldn't like to manage their Google My Business, but yeah, so they would have an umbrella account, and then you can have various. So I work with a couple of businesses like this. So I've got a business where their offices are in Loughborough, but they've also got a United States office. Or branch of what they do. So we have a Google account with the main registered address being the UK, but then we've also got another one which comes under the same umbrella, so you can list various locations on there.
I've got another question from Sam. Sam, it's good to have you with us. Sam's just asking, she asked the earlier question about the reviews, but this time she's asking, how often should she update her Google information, and can she overpopulate?
I don't think you can ever overpopulate stuff like this. I would say you'd be looking at updating stuff probably, a couple of times a month. Again, because if people are looking at things, they are going to look at, or more likely to take action on accounts that have got the most recent stuff on there. Another good thing is so as a Google user, I do this a lot, and I get a monthly report through where I do leave reviews and I take pictures and stuff like that. So it's well worth you encouraging. I don't know, Sam, if you're a service or a product-based business, or if you are something like a restaurant or a shop where you can encourage people to take pictures and to upload them onto Google for you. I don't know, maybe you could run an offer to do that or something, but make it easy for people to do that. So, making sure that you're sharing the link, because you actually get a specific link when you create your Google My Business account. You get a specific link which you can send to people and ask for reviews. So making sure that you're doing that follow-up is really great. But I wouldn't say you can overpopulate, because the more information that you've got on there, the more likely you are to get found in a search.
I guess the other thing, just thinking at myself out loud now, Rachel, is if as businesses have been changing in terms of the hours and how people work,
Yeah.
is about making sure your information on Google is up to date. So if you've changed your operating hours, your opening hours, if you've changed your location, you're not necessarily based in the office at the moment, it's about keeping all of that up to date so people can find you, isn't it?
Absolutely, and that's very true. To be fair, that's a good point, Steve. Because I was looking at something the other day, and I can't remember a business, and I know that they're open, but they had used, so Google, like much of the social media platforms, had a special thing where you could go in and say how you're operating during the present time, or during hopefully the past time, and they hadn't. I knew that they were open for business, but they hadn't updated it to say they were open.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, that's a very valid point to let people know. And if you are open, so for example, if you're a beauty salon or something like that, what do I need to do to come and visit you? Do I need to wear a mask? Do I need to wait outside while you're seeing another customer? Do I need, so just things like that will hugely help, because people are, the other thing is, if you're thinking again back to your customers and what they might be searching for, they might be searching for, I don't know, beauticians operating in a safe manner, things like that. So if you're keeping that information and keeping the dialogue open with your customers, you're more likely to get seen and to get the bookings.
Great. I've got two more questions for you on reviews, Rachel. Another one from Sam. So you were talking about reviews earlier, and I think Sam was the one that had the negative review, but she's saying she's got other reviews from other people that she's received directly or for other sources. Can she upload those onto Google, or does she have to get them to do it themselves?
No, you would have to get them to do it themselves, Sam, because obviously they need to be able to have a Google account in order to review you. However, what you can do is utilize those reviews. So if it's an email or if it's off Facebook or wherever it's from, you can take a screenshot and make it into a post and post it on Google, or you can post it on your social media and use it that way. But yeah, ideally, you want people. You can't upload your own reviews. You need people to or not upload you, but you can't upload reviews for other people. So you need them to do that for you. But you can still and if it doesn't happen, you can still utilize what they've got by making posts out of them.
So the key thing from what you're saying, Rachel, is going forward, Sam, every time somebody gives you a review, ask them to pop it on Google as well for you. So you can build up your bank of reviews on there. And a question from Ahmad. Again, thank you, Ahmad, for your question. Is it better to review the business or the product? Any thoughts on that one, Rachel?
The review would be... that's an interesting question, actually. I should imagine... So the review would be for the business. But what you could do is, I don't know, if I bought a phone from Currys, PC World or whatever they're called now, I would, obviously I could review in any number of things, but what I could do there is in my review say I have bought a phone, maybe have a picture of it, and that is how you as a consumer can really help businesses, is making sure that you leave a full and comprehensive review. So you can refer to the product, but also refer to and then lead on to, and the customer service was great, because that's generic for any product.
Great. I've got a question from Jack here. It's a really interesting one, actually, Rachel. I've never heard of this before, but they're saying, Jack's asking, can he link his reviews on Google to his TikTok account?
Oh,
I've not heard that one before. But...
I've not heard that one before. Thanks, Jack. I'm not sure. I wouldn't have thought so. I'm not sure, but you can now. TikTok is not my forte, but there is possibly in your in your TikTok account, whatever you use to link to your website or whatever, you will be able to use your Google link in your TikTok profile. So then what you can do is ask people to click on the link to leave a review.
I guess turning that question or broadening that question out slightly away from TikTok, but can you leave a link for other social media platforms in a Google review so they can go back, say you've got a YouTube unpacking or unpacking video or review video. Can you do that on a Google review?
Yeah. Yeah, so you can like, so for example, you could respond to a Google review, and you as the business owner, and say, thank you ever so much for this. We'd love you to give us a follow on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, wherever, and do it that way.
Brilliant. That's really good. And my last question that's come in so far is, in terms of any tips or advice from you, Rachel, in terms of making the best from Google on mobile platforms, so using a phone or tablet. Is there anything people should be thinking about differently if they're trying to make their business appeal more or be more usable, more findable on different platforms? Does the actual technology itself make any difference to the Google platform?
No. So Google, everything now is optimized for mobiles. So it's something like 85 to 90% of internet users are looking at stuff on mobiles and tablets. So everything is optimized, and this is actually one of the things, when you're building a website, you need to make sure it's mobile optimized. Even if you're building it on a laptop, you need to keep checking to make sure that it looks good on a mobile. But from Google's perspective, it will be mobile optimized, because yourself, again, going back to searching for things when you're out and about, you will be looking 9 times out of 10 it's going to be on your phone. You're not going to whip your laptop out. So it will be mobile optimized. So just making sure the images are this is why they ask for high resolution images, because they want to be able to, they need to look good on whatever device the consumer is looking at. So yeah.
That's good. I've got 2 more. The questions are coming in thick and fast now. I've got 2 more questions, Rachel. I'm going to test your knowledge here. I got a gentleman called Simon again. It's probably the same Simon. He's asking, he advertised on Google, but felt other people, his competitors, were clicking on his ads to take his budget away. Is that something that can be avoided, or is there a way around getting around that? Or
You can exclude people.
right, so he could exclude.
So you can exclude. You can't exclude. Obviously, you couldn't. I couldn't say I want everyone but Steve Charman to see my. But you can. You can say I don't, exclude certain search phrases and things like that. So unfortunately, that is going to happen. I mean, they'd have to click on it a hell of a lot for you to be spending a lot of money. But yeah, you can put exclusions on Google Ads.
Just as a question from me that leads on from that, Rachel, is there a minimum spend, or can you cap your budget on Google? So
yes, you can cap, and you can
sort of
say, I want to spend X amount. Again, much like Facebook and Instagram, I want to spend X amount a day, and I want you to spend it. So, for example, back to the client that I'm working with, who has got UK and US. So we've selected certain states in the US. And then you have to, so you do it in US time, do it in dollars. So obviously the time, so at this time now in the US, people are just starting to start their day. So at 8 o'clock in the morning UK time, I wouldn't want US adverts running because people are going to be in bed. So yeah, you can there's there are lots of different parameters you can put on there, and you want Google to spend the money when people are most active.
I said that I have one more question. I've got two more now. Another question. This one's coming from Joe. Is there any special way of working with Google if you're a charity? Is there a special rate, or do they treat charities differently, I guess is the question.
I don't know. Quite possibly, because there's a hell of a lot of platforms that do free stuff for charitable organisations, which if you are a charity, I would recommend, and I don't know if you've got this, is looking at Canva, because you can have Canva for free if you're a charitable organisation. So that's worth having a look at. I've referred a couple of charities to that. I would say, Google it.
We'll have the answer, won't it? Yes.
Yeah, because there's a lot of stuff. I mean, most of the stuff that I've spoken about today is free anyway. So obviously you'd have access to that. But yeah, you may well be able to get free training and things like that. But I would certainly look into it.
Brilliant. And I got a last question from Lee. We'll leave it at the last question. Lee is asking, what can you tell us about Google Plus?
Google Plus doesn't really. Google has been replaced by Google My Business, so right. Google Plus, yeah, it's sort of no longer around.
Okay, so everything you've been talking about now. So Lee, it may well be an old
information
you have. Dare we say? We don't know. Critique that, but it sounds
yes. Google, Google Plus. It has been. It's Google My Business is where you want to be.
Yeah. Okay, so make sure you grab hold of your business, get it registered online. As I say, it's completely free.
It was shut down in 2019, Google Plus.
There we are. So information, I'm sure Rachel just Googled it. That's what Google's great at doing, isn't it? Giving us up-to-date information. So Lee, it sounds like a great conversation to have with Rachel. Just she can tell you a bit more detail about how Google can help. What I'm just going to do, Rachel, if you're okay, I'm just going to share the screen I've got here again, just to so people have got your contact details on the screen. There we are. So people have got your contact details. So Lee, Sam, I'm just looking at some of the other names now, Jason, Simon, Ahmad, everybody who's asked questions today, thank you so much for putting Rachel under a bit of pressure, but also for engaging with us, because that's what we're here for. We're here to answer your questions and to help you grow your business, and it's great to have experts like Rachel with us. Google is her forte. She knows everything about how to make the most of not just Google but social media as a whole. I sell social media, as we said right at the very beginning. But
That's a really good spin, Steve. Thanks for that.
it reminds me of that tongue twister where I had at school. I sell seashells.
Seashells on the seashore.
On the seashore. But I sell digital is what Rachel is all about, and she can give you all the answers and help you grow your business and take it. If your business that's really been, or business owner that's really been a bit petrified about moving into the online digital world, then Rachel can really help and support you, hold your hand, and guide you all along the way. So I'd really recommend getting in touch with Rachel. Her contact details are on the screen for us there. And if you're a business owner that's got some wider anxiety, concerns, whether it's about your marketing, whether you really think you're not quite sure where the business needs to be in the next 12, 18 months, whether you want to have a conversation about finances or about marketing strategies more widely, I would also love to have a conversation with you as well. We've got some great ways of supporting businesses, maybe through our networking groups, or whether it's through our videos online, through our 30X program, or having that free initial conversation with us, just so we can unpack a bit where you are in the business. It's been a really challenging year, but there has also, I'm sure Rachel will agree, there's been as many challenges as there has opportunities. And I was talking only this morning at a networking group to somebody who works in one of the big hospitality venues in the centre of Birmingham. They're saying, how much it has changed throughout the last 12 months, but how much opportunity there is now as that industry reopens, but also how hard it is, or it has been. But I also know of other people working in other industries where they've just taken off. It's just been rocketed over the last 12 months because the way consumers' minds and habits have changed, I guess. And Rachel, that's what you're good at, isn't it? You're good at, refining that marketing online on digitally to meet the consumer's needs right now.
Yeah, so basically what I'm speaking to a lot of e-commerce businesses that may have set up, maybe they were sort of, it was a sideline when they were working, and then they've been on furlough, and they've been able to set up a business which was selling great online and selling great over socials, and then come the 12th of April, they've actually seen a decline in sales because of the fact that obviously the world's opening back up again, and it's great. Everybody wants to support local bricks and mortar businesses. But it's actually quite a pivotal point for those businesses, because they might have the basics of being able to sell through Facebook groups, etc., but may not have all this other in-depth stuff, which actually, maybe you need to look at this now, so that your business you've got that extra layer to the digital side of your business. So yeah, it's the online sales have been, and the other thing is obviously, not obviously, but a lot of people will have seen the effect of the iOS Apple upgrade, which you may have seen. Facebook and Instagram have had, and Apple have sort of had a bit of this sort of time over the last few weeks, but it's adapting and making sure, right, okay, so that's changed, so where can I go now and what can I do now? So it's just making sure, and that's the thing about digital marketing, all the pieces of the puzzle need to work together in order for it to be effective.
Yes, my biggest casualty of that was losing BBC iPlayer off my Apple device, but there we go. That's a whole other story with the Apple upgrades. But what you're saying, Rachel, is absolutely true in terms of it's a pivotal point. If you've had a level of success over the last 18 months during lockdown because you're a digital based, or you've got a service that people have been able to access more easily online, as the world enters into this new norm now, and we adjust again, it's how do we keep that momentum going? And I'm sure I speak on behalf of both of us, but Rachel and myself, we'd love to have that conversation with you. Give if it's about digital marketing, give Rachel a call. If it's about your business more widely, give me a call. We'd love to talk to you about how we can get a plan in place for the next 90 days. So you've survived the pandemic, how are you going to thrive going forwards? And we'd love to have that conversation with you. But Rachel, for now, it's 10 to 1, so we'll let you go and get your lunch. And
thank you.
Some much needed attention to that lovely dog. And glad to hear your week's gone well. Thank you so much for giving up your lunch time today.
No worries. Thank you for having me, Steve.
No problem at all. And we look forward to catching up with you again in the near future. And to all our Lunch and Learn listeners, we'll be back with you on Monday at 12 o'clock for another great Lunch and Learn here with us at Action Coach in Birmingham. But for now, stay well, stay safe, and we will see you and speak to you very soon, I hope.
Thank you.
Take care. Thank you, Rachel. Bye-bye.